videographer or photographer, you may want to consider adding this lens to your lineup. With its exceptional build quality, versatile focal length range, and specialized optics, the Tamron, the 70 to 180, it delivers a stunning image and video quality. I just want to add the reason why I chose to shoot with Sony, because it's not because of the color science or the features of the Sony cameras that they have to offer, but it's really because of the lens choices you have. You have such a variety of lenses you choose from, and they come at a good price. You could purchase a good lineup at a pretty decent price for either 1 or 2, 3 lenses, and you practically have your whole setup for years to come. If you've been watching me on this channel, you kind of already have seen me talk about this brand before, and that I also own a couple of its lenses already. And today, that's what we're going to be talking about, the Tamron, the 70 to 180. It's a nice, very exceptional lens. This lens is very great for photography and videography, in my opinion. I mainly use this lens for my wedding videography, but when I do need to get that extra punch in for certain other projects, this is my go-to lens. If not, recently I just purchased the Tamron 28 to 200, so that lens is gonna definitely probably take on a lot of work for me as well. But today we're gonna be talking about this lens right here. Tamron has always been known for the simplicity of their lenses and also the build quality and the sharpness. The build quality on this lens is very durable. It's similar to the 17 to 28 and the 28 to 75, and also the 28 to 200 Tamron lenses. They all got that same feel. It got this hard plastic that it has, but it's very durable. Kid you not, even though it might not be a metal or whatnot, this lens is very durable. Once you got it in your hand, you won't be disappointed in the size and the feel of it. Even though it may look a little cheap, it's not. It's a pretty nice, durable lens. When I first got my hands on this lens, I thought it was pretty heavy compared to the Tamron 28 to 75, because I was so used to this size and this focal and this length of this lens. Soon I picked this one up, I was like, God, pretty heavy compared to a lot of the other lenses, such as the 70 to 200 Sony G Master lens. This lens is not that heavy. You can definitely see the difference in the size of the 78 to 25, but like I said, it's not as heavy as you think it is. It is, of course, a bulkier lens. For the features that it has compared to the 28 to 75, you'll still get good quality images with the Tamron 70 to 180. The weather sealing is very trustworthy. You don't have to worry about any mist or dust getting into your sensors while this lens is on there, because they got it sealed off pretty good. They actually got like a little rubber on the outside of it too, just for that extra security. Yeah, I think just having a weather seal should be on all lenses. So speaking about the focus range on this lens, of course it's more narrow than your 28 to 75 and your 17 to 28, but they made it really for portraits, you know, for street photography, for wedding photographers. But I use it for my wedding films for the most part. It has a great image quality. It's normally my second angle on my other A7S III, which it comes in handy because now my second shooter doesn't have to be close just like I have to be with my 28 to 75. But it works out because they can still get them tight, close shots being at a distance where I can still go back and forth. It definitely helps us on our films when we filming our wedding videos, just because of that narrow focal length. Another feature that what makes this lens so versatile is because it is f-stop. It has a fixed 2.8. Whether you punched all the way in to 180, you still would get that nice blurry background, like very blurry. And that what makes this lens so much fun to shoot with. Whether you're shooting video or photography, still get that nice crispy background if you're shooting at 180. And I tell you, the image quality is pretty sharp. It's very sharp. And one of my favorite features is the simple fact that you can get right up close on your subject and still get in focus. That's one of Tamron's special features, where no matter how close you up to your subject, it'll still have it in focus. You can get pretty close to your subject and have it in focus, whether you're at 70 or 180, and it makes it that much enjoyable when you're doing street photography or wedding videography. I really enjoy it because I don't have to be up close to any of my subject, especially like during the reception. I could be far off and they won't know I'm shooting them when they're having a special moment, because I like catching people in their moments where they just living in the moment. They just enjoying it, they dancing, or they just having a good conversation with somebody. Wherever it is, I like catching those type of moments and putting in my films too, because it makes it that more intriguing. Because like, God, they was having so much fun over there, then boom, over here they sit here jumping up and down and boom, they here, you know, just, I don't know, doing whatever. And I'm able to capture that from afar without them even noticing, because I can punch in the 180. Instead of with my 28 to 75, I have to get a little bit closer. Kid you not, I'm not scared of people. I like being around people. The autofocus performance is still amazing. Even though it's about 3 years now, you still get a very, very fast autofocus system. As far as the 70 to 200, one of the big differences of the 70 to 180 and the 70 to 200 G Master Sony lens is the button. The only button it has is like this switch. It's a lock mechanism. If it's in your bag, it won't allow the zoom ring to turn and twist and allow your zoom to come out. I don't have no problem of my lens extending while it's just sitting, you know, without the lock mechanism. It does extends when you zoom in, so you have an extra little length there. It does make your camera a little front heavy. As far as the length of it, it's approximately 5.9 inches, but as you extend it, it's approximately 8.8 inches. And it weighs in around 810 grams. And as for the focus ring, it's the same as the 28 to 75. They both have the zoom ring at the top and the manual focus ring at the bottom. As you zoom in and out, it's pretty easy. I think it's easier to zoom in and out with this lens than the 28 to 75, in my opinion. I think it's because of the stitching they have on the zoom ring right here. It's a little different from the 28 to 75. I think it's because you got more to grab onto. For a lot of photographers and videographers experience this problem, whether it's dust accumulated inside of the lens when you zoom in and out. I actually had that problem too. You can see a little bit of dust inside your lens, but since it's so close to the lens itself, you're not gonna really see it. You're not gonna see it because it's so close to your lens. You won't pick it up in your images. But that is a thing to think about. If whether you zoom in a lot all the time, you want to just be aware of it. Whether you let's say you shooting a dirt bike convention, or shooting a dirt bike race or something, and there's dirt flying everywhere. It could be something you consider about just being careful. As far as for me, I don't see any dust particles when I'm zooming in and out or in my image at all. So the size is noticeable once you put it on your body. Of course, Sony bodies are not that heavy. They small and slim. You know, it'll get very front heavy as you holding it or doing handheld. And as far as talking about handheld, only thing I would say the downfall of this lens when shooting with it handheld, it doesn't have an OSS. And OSS is basically the stabilization inside the lens itself. Of course, your camera has stabilization on its own. Tamron lens does not have OSS. And so when you shooting handheld, you're gonna see a lot more shaky. Of course, to its competitor, the 70 to 200, it has OSS. So shooting with that lens, you'll have more stabilization. But I normally have this lens on a gimbal, so I don't see too much shakiness on it unless I'm like fiddling with the controls of my camera body, because when tapping it or turning something, you just turning the motors a little bit. But other than that, once you getting into the groove and panning and tilting at the same time, I don't see a noticeable shake where it's like, oh, I can't use that. If you see any shake, it's very slight. For my experience, it works perfectly fine for me. Despite of its age, would I consider the 70 to 180? Of course, I think it has the value it brings to photography and videography. What you can do with both, it still will bring you value to your current situation, because you can always punch in, punch out, get macro shots. Whether you 2 to 3 years doing photography or videography, it's not a cheap lens. I think it still runs around $1,100 to $1,200 on Amazon. What makes it that price is because it's fixed aperture. Instead of like the 20 to 200, it's cheaper, but it's smaller, and plus they didn't make it a fixed aperture. And then that lens does not specialize in one certain niche. This lens is really for photography. So like I said, if you need photography needs, this is a good portrait lens to use. If you're enjoying the value that I'm giving you in this video, like and subscribe so you can see more content just like this. If you're still watching, I just want to say thank you. It means a lot to me that you actually sat here and watched me to the end. I hope I see you in the next one. I see you when I see you. Peace.